All right. Hey, everybody. It's Shane here with daily-astrocat.com. And I want to let you know here about something. So we're going to talk about the significance of Mercury entering Capricorn and what it means for you. I know this happened a while ago, but you know what? I really want to address this because we're going to be coming up to another one, and I will probably do another video very similar to this one for when Mercury enters Aquarius towards the end of this coming week. All right, but we want to talk about Mercury and Capricorn first. Now, look, minds, they change, right? They don't change easily, but your mind does change, and it changes with the seasons. It changes with the months because most people won't change their minds. I could reel off facts to you to try to convince you of this, but you'd yawn, you'd be on to the next video. But wait, what if the mind were actually like your many mental states? I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that. Those are emotional states, but they also induce mental states, right? That feeling of elation, also with depression. What if you had more than one mind? What if your minds were changing you? Now, do you want to learn more about astrology? Yeah, that's where I'm going with this, right? You want to stay till the end of the video. Astrology helps us understand the things that we just don't know quite what it is, but it helps us understand it, like the flow of the day, or why is everybody being so crabby? Why is everything so hard? Why is everything so easy? Awesome, right? Now, in astrology, the mind is governed by Mercury. Aries may govern the head, but in the chief organ of the central nervous system, up here, the brain, that's the domain of Mercury. Logic, speech, writing, and cleverness are all part of this. Communication, add some navigation, reason, and dexterity. Siblings and neighbors, and you got it all part of the mix, right? So are personal tech items like phones and computers. Transportation, oh yeah, your car, right? Mercury goes retrograde, oh yeah, we got some issues there, right? Magic and alchemy. Medicine, thievery, legerdemain, and handicrafts can also be considered to be the purview of Mercury as well. So it isn't surprising the many mental states that we find ourselves in can change rapidly because Mercury is the fastest moving of the planets. Pretty much keeps pace with the sun. Sometimes it outruns the sun, and then it goes retrograde, and it comes back, and then it outruns it again. So what makes our minds so seemingly fluid in one way and intractable in another? We are quick to adapt and take in new information until the information enters deeper into our brains. That is when the brain likes familiar patterns and habits. The new information creates cognitive dissonance, where the new information doesn't quite line up with the way our brain is structured and wired. Oftentimes, this new information is discarded, and we appear to remain entrenched and set in our ways. New Year's resolutions fall into this pattern. By practicing self-directed neuroplasticity, oh yeah, by making our mind up and doing little habits and keeping to them, we can override this wiring, right? That's one way to get beyond it. Now, where's Mercury in all of this, Shane? Where is it? Well, how are Mercury traits expressed in Capricorn? This is the most fascinating part of astrology to me. What do you know about Capricorn? You may know that Capricorn is an earth sign. If you dig a little deeper, you'll find that Capricorn is a cardinal sign with a feminine modality and is ruled by Saturn. Capricorn is a responsible, hardworking, mature, patient, and disciplined with a deep knowledge of subject matters as it relates to their work. Sounds good, right? A lot of Capricorns will say, no, that's not me. But when it comes right down to it, yeah, they kind of are like that. They just don't, they're there and they're doing it, so they don't really realize it. Now, finally, we have to ask, where's Saturn? And why? Well, that's because as the ruler of Capricorn, Saturn's placement will color what effect Mercury will have ultimately on us when it is in Capricorn. That's true for any planet. The ruler of that planet's sign, wherever that happens to be, actually colors that expression that the planet has. That's why astrology is this wonderful tapestry. It's this quilt of things. It's just constantly changing. It's like this moire pattern where it's just kind of like that hypnotic thing where we have planets in one place and then another place, and they keep on moving. Now, the inner planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars all move quickly enough to give it a lot of coloring and variation. The outer planets, not so much. Jupiter takes about a year to move through a sign. So we can see these real cycles. And Saturn has almost like a 30-year cycle. It's a 28-year cycle. And you go further out, you get even further, you get even longer timelines for that stuff. And now we can address how your mind is changing, because I started off with a proposition saying, your mind is changing. Well, and then I tell you that you're not really going to change your mind. Well, you can change your mind if you keep on thinking about it. Or you can listen to astrology and then know that the things that Mercury is moving into will actually help your mind, and you can be in step with the cosmos, where Mercury's at naturally, where that flow is taking us. All right, so think about this. Let's go and talk about how we can address how your mind is changing. So Mercury in Sagittarius, was retrograde when we were last there. Our thoughts and communications regarding education, holiday travel, gifts, gatherings, and being mostly optimistic was on our minds. Now we can become more deliberate, patient, a little bit on the wry side, cooler in our demeanor, serious and professional in our communications, and in our work, okay? Saturn in Pisces gives an almost spiritual vibe. Now, that's where Saturn currently is. This can change from year to year, and this is actually meant to just be kind of like a standard guideline for like when Mercury's in Capricorn. This year, 2025, Saturn is in Pisces. So it's going to give it a spiritual feeling, right? Our choices, they've narrowed because we had a lot of choices before when Mercury was in Sagittarius. Now when Mercury enters Capricorn, is art and creativity are important, but so is controlling any escapist urges. That's that Saturn in Pisces, right? We're trying to control those urges. We're trying to control illusory behavior, the escapist behavior, the drugs, the alcohol. That's why people go for a sober January. Now, did it work for some of them? Probably not, but that's because Mercury was still in Sagittarius. Now, probably about a couple weeks ago, Mercury moved out of Sagittarius, and now we're starting to move into the Capricorn season for Mercury. That makes it easier to follow up on these things because we've got discipline. We've got the patience. Think about this. Mercury is never further than 60 degrees from the sun. The sun represents the individual, the ego, our will. All right, our vitality and sense of purpose. The sun's proximity to Mercury makes it more difficult for Mercury's changes to be effectuated because they're both in the same place temporally, right? So I'm feeling the same way that Mercury is right now because they're so closely knit together. They're just joined, right? And so this joining makes it very difficult for us to change our mind because our identity is tied up with our thoughts, and our thoughts are tied up in how we outwardly express, right? Now, some people will say that's your rising sign, but it's also a function of the sun sign and your Mercury. This emphasizes experientially directed neuroplasticity, which we get that for good or ill because we're reacting in real time. So that's a good reason for that. Experientially directed neuroplasticity, that's something that we really, that's just the habits that we have. Now, is your mind really about to change? No. We adapt and go along with the flow and the vibe. Astrology allows us to go a little deeper, however, and we can utilize the inevitable fluctuations and changes more to our advantage. If you really want to change your mind, this would be the time of the year to do so. So many traditions that exist, such as New Year's resolutions, are timed perfectly with this supporting astrology. And you'll find that for a lot of different things, a lot of different festivals and holidays and seasons. Now that we've gone through this, what do you think Mercury in Capricorn will mean to you? What do you think Mercury in Aquarius is going to mean to you? You'll find it easier to focus on the tasks at hand in Mercury in Capricorn, will you? Will it give you a measure of mental self-discipline? Has it? We will persevere and use this time to strengthen our communications. Now, that much is true. All right? So we are going to be doing that. Perhaps we're going to need to step into the authority and limit the different directions that Mercury can tend to pull us in or towards, okay? Now, this slows Jupiter's roll, right? And because before we had that little Jupiterian influence because Jupiter was in Cancer and Mercury was in Sagittarius, oh yeah, ideas, let's go. Build them all up, right? Mutual reception, that's what that's called. When Jupiter's the ruler of Sagittarius, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. Mutual reception. Now, with Jupiter slowing because it's gonna be going kind of direct. It's building up to something. We are building up to something. Now, do you want to build up your astrology knowledge? Do me a favor. Go to our website, join our email list, and get more insights in your mailbox, okay? We're going to live the lunar life. Live the lunar life with me as your personal guide. Let me know in the comments what insights you may have about this. How's Mercury in Capricorn affecting you? Is it easier to follow through on your resolutions now that Mercury has entered disciplined Capricorn? It may very well be. And where does Mercury fall in your birth chart? Look, we're going to be listing a few resources down below. We're going to be talking about that. I'd like to thank you for watching. Make sure you leave your comments, though. Please do. Okay? It's very important. I get back to everybody, too. Thank you for watching. Happy astro-catting.